Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome into the Gramlich and McLean podcast presented by Ingles, the official supermarket of Gramlich and McLean, our fourth episode of the week. Mac, are we getting overtime pay? Because we've been working.
We need to talk to our bosses. This is unbelievable. The amount of time
that's us.
Oh, shoot. Gosh, dang it. Well,
Dang it.
Just send the invoice, KG. We'll get it done. We'll get it taken care of.
That's right. We have had quite the busy week. Monday was our recap of the weekend if you missed it. Wednesday was a very special basketball episode. Now, of course, we're still a football podcast. This is a one-off episode, but Ingles is helping to sponsor the Asheville Championship, November 10th and 12th in Asheville. Clemson's playing in it. So they said, you want to go to Little John and preview Clemson? And we said, yeah, why not? So we have a Clemson basketball episode that is on our channel. If you're a Clemson fan and want to tune in, check it out. Then we did our mailbag episode yesterday to keep the football content coming. And Mac, I know people get excited when we have guests, when we have Coach Norvell, when we have Riley Leonard, all these different players. I had so much fun doing that mailbag episode with you.
I did too.
If you haven't listened, go listen.
It was really cool, and getting different people's perspective and, unique questions and tough questions that sometimes, I want to avoid. And people said, hey, you got to answer it. It's in the mailbag. You got to do it. It was a lot of fun, and I appreciate everybody's participation. And KG, thank you for sifting through the millions of emails, tweets, Facebook, DMs, all that stuff, finding it for us. I really appreciate that.
Mac, normally I handle Mac's fan mail, so this was easy for me. Mac gets a lot of fan mail these days, as he should. Do
people still do fan mail? I feel like it's all just Twitter's fan mail.
I feel like it's just Twitter.
Just tweet you. They just tweet us.
Like, hey, I like what you do.
Whatever it's called.
Or, hey, you're terrible. Either one.
That's right.
We appreciate both. Mac, this weekend, we are doing a home tailgate.
Ooh.
We are having some of our friends come down, and we're just going to tailgate at the house, which
come on,
honestly has its perks. You have your own bathroom, you have your own couch, you can wear fuzzy socks, like you can chill. And we are definitely going to hit up Ingles for all of our needs for our home tailgate. Perhaps, I'm just going to throw it out there, perhaps some adult beverages will be getting those necessities at Ingles as well. They have a great selection of that. So that's our plan for this weekend. I know you'll be in Atlanta, Mac. You'll be busy, but I'm going to be on my couch. As we always, that's always our trade-off.
Well, I'm excited for you. I do have to know, though, is this the dairy-free friend group? Are you making the healthy dips and choices there
Did
this
I ever
weekend?
tell you about this? Yes, it is. But here's what's funny. I made that dairy-free buffalo chicken dip, and it was good.
Sure.
It didn't taste like a dairy-contained buffalo chicken dip. And I made it, and my friend, who is the dairy challenged person, he took a bite, and he's like, Kelly, this is good, but, I'd prefer the original. And I'm like, wait, I'm making this for you. And he's like, yeah, for buffalo chicken dip, I think I'll just risk it.
Oh,
so,
you know what? That's a great
time.
point. This is a great learning lesson for America. I'm going to get on a soapbox right here.
Okay.
You don't just have to change everything for one person, all right?
Ooh,
you got to appease the masses for the people that going around.
Yep. I agree. And so if he's willing to risk it for the biscuit, then
all that matters.
We're good to go. You know what I mean? I was just trying to be thoughtful, but it is what it is. And, if you are dairy-free, you can still get those really good ingredients. Right. They had like the dairy-free cream cheese at Ingles you can use, but I think most people would enjoy the original. So, yeah, they risk it. Let's get to a message from Ingles and then to these games.
College basketball is kicking off with the Asheville Championship at the Harris Cherokee Center, Asheville on November 10th and 12th, featuring my Clemson Tigers, Maryland, Davidson, and UAB. Tickets are on sale now at AshevilleChampionship.com. Save your spot, cheer on your team at the Asheville Championship, November 10th and 12th. Again, that's AshevilleChampionship.com. Get your tickets today.
Mac, it's time for our big game breakdown. We have 2 games in this category today, and then we'll run through the rest of these. We have 7 games this weekend to discuss. So let's start here. The ranked versus ranked matchup of the weekend. Number 20, Duke, is at number 18, Louisville. Louisville is a 4-point favorite, 3:30 p.m. on ESPN. Massive game for ACC title implications. We talked about this on the mailbag episode. This is huge because of who Louisville doesn't play down the stretch. If Louisville wins this game, they have a very easy path and manageable path to get to the ACC championship, Mac. And the big question with this game, Riley Leonard, Jawar Jordan, where are these two players? Here's the latest. Riley Leonard, Mike Elko's not giving us much. He said, I think after talking to the doctors and everyone, Riley's going to be day-to-day. That's kind of where we're at with that. Honestly, day-to-day sounds a little wishful
Coach,
thinking.
We have a question about Riley day-to-day. No, it's about his school day-to-day. No, it's about his family day-to-day.
Riley, day-to-day Leonard. That's where we are. Jawar Jordan is questionable because of his hamstring injury that he had coming into the Pitt game and then retweaked in the Pitt game. And he did not practice during the bye week. But they're being very vague as to what he's been doing this week. But, Mac, they are coming off a bye. I mean, that's good news for Jawar Jordan compared to Duke and Riley Leonard coming off an FSU beatdown. I've never had a hammy injury. Have you had a hammy injury?
Do I look explosive enough to have a hamstring injury? Like, come on. You got to move fast to hurt your hamstring, right? And I'm good. I'm good on the hamstring front. So I don't know. I have no clue what it feels like. Have never even thought about experiencing that before. So what is a hamstring?
I didn't even know
Some
I had
people, that's
hamstrings.
all they got. You know, there's nothing above it. It's just a hamstring there. No power that they can exert there. But it's a big deal, right? Like Jawar Jordan not being available is a massive deal there, not only with obviously what he does on the ground, but what he can do as a receiver as well. So he has 89 carries. The next closest is 50. The next closest after that is 30, and then 11. So it like falls drastically very quickly as you go on there. And guys are going to have to step up. You know, they're going to have to fill that void because he's a guy that anytime he touches it, KG, it could be a home run. I mean, he's averaging nearly 7.5 yards per carry. 8 touchdowns. Again, explosive as all get out. Has multiple 70-plus yard scores. Would have even more, but a couple got called back. So he's the type of guy that you just really would love to have, especially in this Coach Brom offense that is so explosive and can really, you know, attack from anywhere. And then if he can't go, who steps up, you know, in his place? Who's the guy that, you know, maybe carries a little bit more of the load, or they just throw the ball a bunch, which isn't ideal, because this Duke defense is so good at stopping the pass. So it's going to be a real challenge. This is one of those where both the way these teams play is going to make for a really interesting game, and I can't wait to see it.
Well, when you say throw the ball a lot, I think of Jack Plummer's 8 picks. So that worries me for Louisville. And Duke's defense has been really good. We know they gave up some points to Florida State, but Florida State, one of the best teams in the country for sure. When you look at the running game and the rushing attack in this game, Louisville was not able to run it without Jawar Jordan at Pitt, and that was their biggest issue besides the turnovers. On the flip side, Louisville's only giving up 97 rush yards per game, and they only gave up 88 to Pitt. Going up against this great Duke rushing attack, and we're assuming Duke's going to have to run the ball if Riley Leonard is gimpy or doesn't play. So I think the run game in general, which really, to me, this game is easy. Whichever team has the most rush yards is probably going to win the game. Now, you can factor in turnovers and all that, but if you don't have these two stars in Leonard and Jawar Jordan, or they're not 100% healthy, it's going to take some other people to step up. Mac, I think with this game, I was so impressed still with Duke at Florida State. We know about the backdoor cover. We know that Riley Leonard got hurt or didn't go back in, but Duke's physicality on both lines of scrimmage, I think Louisville's going to struggle with that.
It's going to be interesting, and I think that's obviously a very, you know, smart, realistic key there of who can run the football. And I just look at whose defensive line is better, whose defensive rush game has been better, more consistent. And I think that it's been Louisville. You know, those guys are getting after it. They're getting after the quarterback.
I agree.
All these different things. Now, I do think from a whole standpoint, I think Duke's defense is a little bit better. But it's going to be fascinating. And really, the Jawar Jordan injury makes this game even more difficult for me, KG, because it's like, if you have that guy, you feel really good about it because, you know, you have that balance. You have those different options for Duke, as you said, you know, coming off a really emotional, tough game, being at Florida State. And now you're going to be at Louisville, you know, two kind of, you know, loud and raucous places. The good thing is it's at 3:30 there, so not a night game. But I am fascinated to see, how does Duke respond? Are they able to get any type of passing game really going? They have these great wide receivers, and
Yeah,
it's just been
that's
such
the
really.
question.
When I look at Wake Forest and I look at Duke and I look at the receiving corps, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like they're just sitting there not being utilized, not being these amazing creators that I know they can be, and that has to be tough, especially for a guy like Jalen Calhoun. This is his last shot, and it's unfortunate that obviously he doesn't have his guy out there, but then that they just really can't use them to their full ability. So that'll be a fascinating piece. It has to be better. I mean, the passing effort that we've seen, from a completion standpoint, the last 2 weeks for Duke has been abysmal. Like, I don't care what it is. I don't know if you need to throw screens. I don't know if you need to throw just slants, drags, whatever.
Something.
Get the ball out. Let your quarterback see. I'm assuming that it's going to be Beelan. Make some completions. Get that confidence rolling.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the defense has to respect that a little bit more and then run the ball. I mean, the fact that they're averaging 200 yards rushing, 170 passing is just crazy. It really is. I don't know if that model will work against Louisville.
There's got to be some sort of threat of a passing game, something to let Jordan Waters get going and be the star that he has been. When you look at Louisville's loss at Pitt, and they've had a bye week to kind of get it together, when you take another look at it, it was so disappointing in the moment, but really the turnovers were the issue. Louisville lost to Pitt in a game where they had 28 first downs to Pitt's 13, outgained Pitt 430 to 288, and only had 5 penalties, but 3 turnovers. So this is where I get worried. If we're putting the game in Jack Plummer's hands,
no,
I'm stressed for Louisville, especially against this Duke defense and this Duke secondary, Mac. I don't know if you're prepared yet to make a pick, but I am tired of going against Duke, as I've referenced many times. I have questions about who's playing quarterback, but I think the lines of scrimmage and this Duke defense are going to be able to keep Duke very much in this game.
Ooh,
I'm taking Duke +4.
I like it. I like it. Look
I didn't
at
mean
you,
to wear Duke
Homer.
blue today,
Unbelievable.
or royal
I'm wearing
blue.
neutral green. I'm wearing Notre Dame green over here. Whatever. I love those.
Notre Dame green.
Yes. I love that, and I love those reasons, but it's not enough for me. The lack of passing game has just been such an issue where you become one-dimensional and everyone knows what you're doing. Now, have they really been able to stop it? No. But have they slowed it down a little bit? Maybe at times. So I just think that Louisville can find a way. I think that defense is, for Louisville, going to create some havoc, going to get after the quarterback, going to create some turnovers. And with Gerard still being on the fence, we don't know if he's playing. We don't know if he's not playing. If he does, I feel a lot better. But if he doesn't, obviously Louisville will have to find a way. I think they get out by a touchdown. So I'm going with the Cards. Disagreeing on our first game. It's a great start. I love this. We'll see what happens.
Okay. And again, as I remind you every week, Mac's record is 35-23. Mine is 31-27.
Not that big.
So
it's not.
go
Come on.
with
We're both
who
there.
you want.
We're both there.
On that one. I speak from the injury standpoint. If Riley plays, he will be gimpy. He will not be 100%. But maybe honestly, in Mike Elko, I trust. Like I think Mike Elko could put together a game plan with a gimpy Riley Leonard, as long as he doesn't get rolled up on, which Louisville's going to try to do. All right, our next game here in the big game breakdown. I think at this point, because Florida State is making that playoff push, any game they play is going to be in our big game breakdown. So number 4, Florida State is at Wake Forest, noon on ABC. FSU's a 20.5-point favorite. We even had a question in our mailbag episode of, is this a trap game? Which I said no. Mac maybe a little more thought it was. Wake's defense looked really good versus Pitt. They're coming off and come from behind win versus Pittsburgh. And on the quarterback perspective for Wake, this is what Clausen said this week. Mitch Griffiths is back this week. We're giving both of those guys reps. We will just play that out as the week goes on and see how Mitch is. We'll continue to bring Santino along, and every week he plays, he'll get a bit more of the offense. Kern is not available. So it's between Mitch and, as Clausen also calls him, Santino. So, Mac, who do you think plays? If Mitch is back, where would you go? Assuming
the guy that
both
just
are
gave
healthy.
me a game-winning drive, like duh, ride the hot hand.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's been baffling, honestly, to see that quarterback situation. And, coming into the year, I thought Mitch was going to be more than ready, to be a guy, waited his turn and just the leadership qualities. I mean, we spoke to him a couple of times, how confident he was just, in Wake's plan and what they want to do. And unfortunately, it didn't unfold the way we thought. And again, the wide receivers are excellent and just can't get them involved enough. Only averaging 200 yards passing is just crazy. I thought this Wake Forest offense was going to just continue to rise and rise, and thought it was just a great system that produced. And now we're really seeing how important, a guy like Sam Hartman was. Not that to discredit him, you just thought that the system was really good and receivers were really good, and that he could just drive the ship, and make it kind of easy street there. And that just hasn't been the case this year. So that's a little bit baffling to me. This Wake Forest defense has been, good at times and has really shown, these flashes of brilliance. And then they've also have shown where they haven't been great and given up a bunch of yards and points and people allowed to move the ball, giving up 360 something yards per game isn't, ideal. That's more than your offense has been producing. So that's tough. I think Florida State rolls here. The line was 20.5. Is that right, KG? Yeah,
It's
20.5
still,
right here
last I
today
saw,
on a
20.5.
Thursday. I think they have no problem with that. And honestly, if quarterback play consistency wise, like don't wait till the last quarter, last drive to have a great game. If that doesn't improve for Wake, this game could get real ugly real quick. I mean, they're firing on all cylinders. And we kind of talked about the trap game, and they probably already had that. That was Boston College, and they find a way to win. That was Clemson, and they found a way to win. I don't think the Noles slow down. I mean, just however you want to do it, running it, throwing it. If I'm, Coach Norvell, Johnny Wilson probably doesn't play. He's a guy that's been banged up these last couple of weeks. I think you rest him, get him right. Not saying you don't need him, but you don't need him. So I think the Noles roll. Exactly.
He needs to be right.
We need
for
everybody
Miami.
healthy for this late season push.
Mac, a few times I've heard you call Clemson a trap game for FSU. How is that? I thought, that was a massive game. And that was Clemson, who played really well, almost beat them.
Maybe it's not
BC
a trap game, but
game.
it's a game where
I don't think Clemson was a
obviously
trap
that's
game.
one of the worst. This is one of the worst Clemson teams we've seen. So to fall into,
Sure,
the Paul, looking at the Paul or Death Valley or whatever, it's not a trap game. It was a slipping point, a potential slipping point. I don't think it was a trap. It wasn't a trap game.
there you go. Okay, that's fair. But to me, the definition of trap game is honestly something like this: going on the road 100%. To a sleepy environment at noon.
Yeah.
That's what BC was. So there is a little concern for me that maybe that affects Florida State again. But let's not forget, FSU got off to a massive lead at Boston College. They just gave it up with fumbles and turnovers. So I'm with you, Mac. Wake don't even know who their quarterback is. So I'm going to take Florida State minus 20.5. I don't think this is a trap game. I think next week at Pitt is a little more of a trap game. Not that I have faith in Pitt, but it's on the road. It's Pittsburgh. Who knows? It could be sleeting. It could be whatever. Sure. And you have Miami the week after that. So I think the Noles
and
roll
I think,
here,
what would be nice is just, it's something where you look at the preseason hype, right? And you see the excitement level and awards and all these different things. I would love to see Jordan Travis just go nuts this game. Like big numbers on the ground, through the air, 300 plus, multiple touchdowns, maybe 4+ touchdowns. Because I think that Heisman race, I think it's pretty open, with the way that guys are performing. And September, it was Michael Penix and it was over with. And now that's kind of starting to go downhill a little bit. Obviously, we've seen the struggles, out at USC and the things that they've been doing. And then who's after that? Michigan. That's everything I've heard. He's the favorite right now, I think. JJ, he's hurt.
Bowers is hurt.
And it's wide open. So go take that thing, JT, and really try to get these numbers up within the offense. Obviously, I don't want you to do anything crazy. But I think he has a real opportunity to finish this season strong and get back square in that race.
Yeah, I agree. Right now, you could argue the Heisman favorite is the guy who steals the signs at Michigan.
A little easier when you know what you're working with.
He's put in a lot of work there, Mac. He's elite at his job. Okay, let's get to our speed round and run through these games. Number 17, North Carolina is at Georgia Tech, where they never win. 8 p.m. on ACC Network. North Carolina is an 11.5-point favorite. I went and looked this up, Mac. Overall, since 2009, UNC is 4-9 versus Georgia Tech. And then this is the stat you were alluding to that, but Wes Durham brought up. Since 1999, Georgia Tech has played in Atlanta 12 times, and they're 2-10.
Brutal. House of Horrors.
Yeah. Yikes. That is not good. And of course, you have last year's game to throw in the mix. Now, I went back and looked at that box score. None of those guys are playing for Georgia Tech anymore. Like, none of them. So I think you can take something from it, but also none of the guys that you're playing right now really beat that UNC team last year. So this game worries me. And I just wonder where UNC is, knowing that they just messed up. Like, I don't know how else to put it.
It's
they
just
messed up, man.
It stinks, because you're not making the most of your opportunity. How amazing that could have been. The national recognition, you probably would have been like 7 in the country right now. And instead you're 17th. Like, such a drastic change of what the nation would have perceived you as, who they would have been looking at. And again, talk about national awards. I mean, Drake would have been square in that and still can. I mean, he obviously needs to continue to have a massive, second half of the season here. But, for me, it just, this Georgia Tech team does just feel a little bit different in regards to their defense just isn't great, KG. And quite frankly, they're bad. Giving up 230 yards rushing per game. UNC, it is insane. That's kind of hard.
That's insane.
UNC really needs to overemphasize that, like run the ball. With a bunch of different people. I'd love to see Amarian Hampton get 20 plus, 25 plus touches. Just because, number one, he's that good and that type of back that he can handle that. But also, number two, you're probably going to be having great success running it. So I hope it's one of those things too, KG, that's interesting to me is, play callers, we see different trends and things of this nature. I just have to think, if I was calling plays, if I called something, let's say an outside zone, and we picked up 9 yards, I'm going right back to that. If not the next play, the play after. Like, I'm going to do it again. And then if it has success, I'm going to do it again. Like, I'm going to keep doing it until you prove that you can stop it. And, I think sometimes people kind of get in their own heads of, I have this whole play sheet. I've got all this, stuff. I've got to call all of these. I have, 30 different things on here instead of, hey, that worked. Like, let's go. Banjo, do it again, play it again. So I think that is tough. But if that's the case, I hope that's what we see. And, he should have an exceptional day. Now, again, it would be fun to see Drake and the boys throw it all over the yard. And I know you got that explosive offense, but kind of let that happen. Because if you are running it super successfully, if you are running it for 5-6 yards a clip, guess what's going to happen? They're going to shift to a one safety look because they need more people in the box. And then you can throw it all over the yard. Everything will open up. And I think these, obviously offensive coordinator is Lindsey is surely smart enough to understand that. And he loves to run the football. And I don't know why they went away from it a week ago.
He does.
Where you probably could have won the game, but they did. So I'm hoping for overemphasis on running the football this week from North Carolina.
I agree. And here's the way I'm looking at this game, Mac. I think Vegas wants me to take Georgia Tech. So I'm not going to do it. I'm going to take North Carolina minus 11.5. I think they bounce back. And to your point, I think Georgia Tech's defense is just not going to be able to slow down North Carolina.
I'm rocking with the heels. I know.
I don't feel great about it.
This is probably the most difficult one of the weekend for me, just because of the history. Like, that matters, right? Like, it happens for a reason. It's there for us to learn from. But I'm gonna turn my head and kind of ignore it. So we'll see if that's a smart decision or not. But I'm rocking with the heels.
Mac, history has never repeated itself, so it's fine. No big deal. All right, we agree there. Let's get to this game. Clemson at NC State, 2:30 p.m. on the CW, baby.
Okay.
Let's go. Clemson makes its CW debut. The Tigers are a 10-point favorite. Both quarterbacks are coming in kind of down in the dumps, coming off. Honestly, both teams are coming in down in the dumps, coming off tough performances. NC State is coming off a bye week, so they do have that. The last time Clemson visited Raleigh, I was actually at the game.
Did you
Clemson
get a
lost.
solo cup after that
2021.
game? No, I did.
Um,
Yeah, I did. Oh, you
a solo
forget
cup.
the best TV
Oh,
interview
I
we've
know
ever
what you
done.
mean. Yes. No. I remember it now. No, I just remember walking out and
Oh, I'm
NC
sure.
State fans
I'm
were
sure.
very happy. Yeah. I think the run games are vital in this game because both quarterbacks have just been struggling. I think whichever team can run the ball is going to have the most success. NC State has struggled to run the ball, but Mac, until proven otherwise, I am going to lean towards Clemson is going to make this harder on themselves. Clemson is going to hurt themselves. And I think Clemson has a lot of mental issues to work through right now. So until proven otherwise,
Yeah.
I'm
Milt,
taking
get
the
it
other team to cover.
together. Come on, Big Milt.
I'm
Let's
taking
go.
NC State to cover.
Help us out. I agree with you. I mean, it's baffling. I'm taking the pack.
Really? Are you going to take the pack to cover here? Okay, guys.
It's not.
When you've lost Mac, this is huge. Because Mac, no matter what, he wants to convince. I mean, he played for this program. He wants to convince himself that Clemson can cover.
I'm just tired of losing money.
You've lost Mac.
That's
wow.
just at the end of the day. You know, it's brutal.
This is where we are.
It's to that point where you've got to prove it to me. I mean, it's just, I watched the games, was there up close in person, was right in the end zone that silly play occurred. And it's a very weird place right now the Tigers are in. And, I certainly think they have the players to get out of it quickly. I mean, at the beginning of the year, I told you, KG, I think this team's square back in the playoff with everything that I saw and the skill that I saw and the things at practice. But guess what? You're not live in practice. You're not running into the end zone fumbling the football. Like that's things that you just can't see. Injuries hadn't happened yet. The defense isn't having to go against a team running the ball like Miami and whatever. So there's all these things that you cannot see obviously until the game is played, until you see it in a live stadium. And I think all of that is still true with the talent that they do have. It's just, can that talent get on the same page and play together and not make silly turnovers, as you said, not hurt themselves and just walking into the end zone, drop the ball, next play 80 yards to the house. Like all of those things have to improve, and that has to be a drastic improvement. This is obviously a huge game for Will Shipley. A lot of his family, most of his family went to NC State. And I have to think that he is going to play inspired and want to have a big game. But that's going to be harder than not because this defense is really good, for NC State. They're kind of in line with the running attack from stopping it standpoint that Clemson is. And you look at Peyton Wilson having an unbelievable year. My defensive player of the year, I don't think he can really mess that up, barring being injured and not finishing the season. So it's going to be a tall task. And you got long, aggressive corners really on both sides. These teams, weirdly enough, this year, KG, mirror each other very similarly in regards to what they look like from an athletic, physical standpoint, and then just the lack of production offensively. Cannot get – number one, NC State just can't get things going. Clemson can't get out of their own way, and it has equated to the same product.
They have the same record. So there you have it. The other thing, too, with Shipley, he's said this, too. He says his emotions, sometimes he can't control them. So this is a huge game for him emotionally. That, I don't know, could be an issue. But we're both taking NC State to cover until proven otherwise. We'll see. Do you think Clemson wins?
I don't know what to expect from Clemson. I have no clue.
I still think, honestly, I feel better about this game than Miami. I think Clemson wins just because NC State hasn't really shown me anything. Besides Peyton Wilson. Can Peyton Wilson go play quarterback?
Can he catch the ball? Listen,
like
throwing the ball is not the
much.
issue. Catching the ball has been the issue. Can he go play tight end for a couple series? Yeah, exactly.
Have him go play two ways, like
Get
Travis
the Heisman.
Hunter.
Let's not just settle for defensive player.
Honestly, if Doran asked him to do that, he would say yes. I'm sure he would.
Awesome. Actually, I'm going to call Coach after this and say, hey, have you thought about this? Thought about 11 out there?
I bet he has, honestly. Okay, our last three. Let's run through these, Mac. Virginia at Miami. Miami's a 19-point favorite, 3:30 on ACC Network. Ooh. And TVD is back. This is great news for everybody.
Is he really back?
Glad
What were the words that you read? Because I heard some words where it was like...
He's good to go. That's what I read.
Good to go.
Good to go.
Yep. TVD's good to go. Is it?
That means he's back.
We'll see about it. I don't know if I fully trust it yet. We'll see.
Okay, I understand that, but I think he's back.
I like that.
I'll say I think. I think the guy is back. And this is such an interesting game, Mike, because Virginia,
Sure.
how do they handle success?
Yeah.
How do they handle what they just did? Going back on the road again? I mean, I was super impressed. And as we said on yesterday's episode, it's not fluky. What Virginia did to North Carolina it didn't look fluky. So can they go down here and still put it all together? Plus, TVD, good to go, whatever that means. I think I'm going to take Virginia to cover. I think that's what Vegas wants me to do.
Listening?
So I'm
19,
nervous. But, Mac, we said it all year. Virginia's been in all these games.
Mm-hmm.
They've been in the game. And that's all you're asking me for if you're going to cover 19.
I am leaning with the Canes. I think that Virginia is not going to be able to run the football. Like, it's going to be shut down. It's going to be a huge piece. It's going to be a huge piece for them.
Run,
that outside zone that they're able to really handle against North Carolina and control and have some really burst type plays.
But we thought UNC had a pretty good defense.
Well, when you look at it, though, it makes sense, right? They have two really big, like, I won't say sloppy, but kind of sloppy defensive tackle bodies, right? That are good at plugging gaps and stand right here. But KG, when that gap goes from here to over here, that guy can't move as well. Miami doesn't have that. Miami has war daddies. No, I said
Max
I'm not.
calling you sloppy.
Just look at it.
So you're telling me Ruben Bain is not sloppy?
He's not. Sit 12 pack. I mean, that dude is the opposite of sloppy. He's a Greek god. So that's why I don't think they're going to have success there. Like the side-to-side running that eventually led to cutback lanes for Virginia against North Carolina ain't there. You're going to see a brick wall. So can they throw the ball vertically? I've heard Cam Kitchens is getting healthier by the day, and he will probably be in a better space than he has been these last couple of weeks. I think the Canes probably roll right here. And I think there's something to the momentum of beating a Clemson and, looking good at a certain type of way. And, if TVD is good to go and is playing and is back, whatever that means, I think they're obviously a different team there too. So I think the Canes roll here by 3 touchdowns.
Okay. Again, what Virginia did at UNC was not fluky, but I guess they were going up against some sloppy bodies, as Mac was emphasizing there. We shall see. Okay, Pitt at number 14, Notre Dame. Notre Dame's a 20.5-point favorite, 3:30 p.m. on NBC. Mac, I don't love this for Pitt. Pitt's coming off a heartbreaker. Notre Dame's coming off a bye week and a win, a dominating win over Southern Cal. I don't see any reason to take Pitt plus 20.5.
Oh, man.
So I'm taking Notre Dame to cover. What? Give me the reason. What is the reason?
That's the only reason. That's all I got. They just beat Louisville. Listen, transitive properties. They just beat Louisville. Who did what? Stomped the crap out of Notre Dame.
Beat Notre Dame.
It's all there for you. It's all there for you.
That's college
football.
football.
With that in mind,
I think
they keep it within 20. I'm going with the Panthers.
Really?
But I don't feel good about it. No one listened to me. This is just me. I said it on radio. I'm doing it here on the podcast.
Wow.
I think they stumble into it. Maybe it's a late field goal. I don't know. But they find a way to keep it at 19.
Sure. Are they bringing the vase? That's the big question. If they're bringing the vase.
At first, I did not know what you were talking about. And I was like, oh my gosh. You better bring it. It better have like a case
how could you forget?
Is more protective than what the national championship trophy is in. All right?
Can we turn the Pitt vase into Howard's Rock? Like, can we get a vase, a case for it, and we touch it for a game? Like, I think we should.
Not a bad idea.
At this point.
I think that should be done.
We'll talk to some people. Okay, our last game here. UConn at Boston College. Boston College is a 14-point favorite, noon on ACC Network. A classic you better not for Boston College. They always find themselves. They find themselves in these you better nots. They lost to UConn last year, 13-3. However, UConn is much worse this year. They're 1-6 with their only win at Rice. And BC is rolling with Tuami Castellanos, who is a baller. This game is in Chestnut Hill. Last year's game was at UConn.
Oh, okay. I didn't think you'd go there. I think so too. They're super bad.
Mac, UConn's
Terribly
bad.
I totally agree with you. And I think that our guy Tommy, like you said there, is balling. I mean, he's really
Tommy.
playing at a super high level. Fun to watch, leading rusher, leading passer, and he wants it that way, right? Like he wants to be that guy. So I'm with you. I think they cover. I think he has a massive day, just filled up the stat sheets wherever he wants. And, continue to see these wide receivers really grow up too. I mean, these guys have been playing at a high level offensively.
Mm-hmm.
See my boys up front, Christian Mahogany and company really continue to roll. Will be fun.
Yes. I think Christian has pulled that group together. They're looking a lot better on the O-line.
I think they roll, and this is kind of their step. Who knows what happens? What does BC do? I need 2 more games, and we're bowl eligible. And my prediction comes true. You love to see it.
That's true. Mac, so we disagree on Pitt, Notre Dame, Virginia, Miami, and Duke, Louisville. I could make up some games here. If I don't do anything this week, it's pretty much this.
I feel great about 2 of them. Don't feel great about Pitt. Don't feel great about Pitt. But we're doing it. We're throwing it out there.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Which means that's going to be the one that hits,
right.
for sure.
Oh, goodness. Well, KG, it's been a super fun week. Guys, thank you for coming on this journey with us. Big 4-pack for us this week. Was a lot of fun, a lot of different things.
Ooh.
As KG mentioned at the front end, go check out the Clemson basketball episode. All our Clemson fans tuning in, really in-depth coverage there, and some great just insight from Coach, from a couple of players, and just stuff that you really won't find anywhere else. So we are very grateful for them. Go check that out. And of course, next week, we'll be right back Monday with another huge kind of recap to tell you what happened. And hopefully I hit on all these picks and look super smart. That would be nice. But we need a favor from you guys. I need you to go over to YouTube, subscribe, jump on the channel. We have a ton of fun over here. Leave some comments. We love that. And of course, the OGs over on Apple Podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe there as well. We would greatly appreciate it. But until next time, we'll see y'all.